Proverbs 9, and as you're turning there, remind you that Proverbs chapter 1 through Proverbs chapter 9 is a single unit in the book of Proverbs. It is one long monologue, and it's really is the opening argument for wisdom. And so, and it builds, as I've said in the past, there's a circular nature to it. So you have it discussing something in chapter 1 and then come back to it in chapter 2, but intensify it and then come back to it again later and make it even more intense. And so you have this argument that is building from the very beginning. And it now reaches its peak right here in chapter 9. And so this is really the ultimate chapter. If you're going to understand the book of Proverbs, this chapter is crucial to that because it's bringing to its final, really dramatic conclusion all that is going on in chapters 1 through 9. And it is centered around a plea for wisdom and a plea to pursue wisdom. And so what we have here in this chapter is two comparisons. We are introduced to two people, Lady Wisdom and Madam Folly. And so we have verse 1, wisdom has built her house. Or verse 13, verse 13, a foolish woman is clamorous. So these are the two characters that are presented to us. They should look familiar to us already. For example, Proverbs chapter 8, verse 1, it says, does not wisdom cry out and understanding lift up her voice? Proverbs 7, verse 4 says, say to wisdom, you are my sister, and call understanding your nearest kin. So this is that continued personification of wisdom. And in this, we're going to see that she does exactly what she has been doing throughout this first 9 chapters. So that even at the beginning of chapter, or at the end of chapter 1, we see wisdom inviting people to come to her to seek wisdom and warning of judgment on those who reject her. And so we are introduced here to this lady, wisdom. We are also introduced to this woman, folly. And it is here that the personification is a little bit different. Here it calls her a foolish woman. But it's still the same basic idea that you have folly here being presented to us as a woman. In this case, this stereotypically foolish, wicked woman. And so these are the two characters that we're going to meet. Lady Wisdom is described for us as a wise hostess. So it says in verses 1 through 3, wisdom has built her house. She has hewn out her 7 pillars. She has slaughtered her meat. She has mixed her wine. She has also furnished her table. She has sent out her maidens. She cries out from the highest places of the city. So wisdom has prepared a banquet. I mean, and you look at how it's described. What's the first thing wisdom has done in verse 1? She built her house. And it says, the second thing she's done, still in verse 1. So she has built a house. She has even carved out the pillars that hold up this house. Verse 2, what has she done? So she has butchered the calves. She has also done what? So she has taken probably the dehydrated grape juice. Was one of the ways that they preserved grape juice was they would dehydrate it down into basically a jelly. And then when they were ready to serve it, they would mix water in with it and basically reconstitute the grape juice. It's possible she's mixed in other spices and flavorings with it, but as she's preparing the meat, she's preparing the drink. What's the third thing she's done in verse 2? Yep, she has furnished her table. She has set all the places. So the banquet is laid out. What Lady Wisdom has been diligent and careful and putting out this grand feast. And she even is now, verse 3, she is sending out her maiden, saying, go, you find the people who need to come and invite those who need to come. But on the other hand, so we have Lady Wisdom as a diligent, wise hostess. Madam Folly, verse 13, is an ignorant shrew. She is clamorous. But she is loud, and the clamorous is not just noisy, but it's noise really with no substance, no meaning. She is a banging of pots together. She is just, yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's a good phrase for it. The clanging cymbal, sounding brass, just noise. She is simple. So she's not wise. She's the antithesis of wise. She is simple. In fact, she knows absolutely nothing. So that whatever she says is by its very nature folly. It is know-nothing speech. It is without understanding, without comprehension. It has nothing. So she speaks empty noise. She speaks ignorant noise. She is this really stupid shrew. And we have both of them, though. So we have right now the contrast. The one is described as a wise hostess. The other is described as an ignorant shrew. But we see there's a lot of similarities, as Jim's already been telling us. Their location, verse 3, she cries out from the highest places of the city. So she's at the peaks where everybody can see her, where everybody can hear her. Lady Wisdom is there, making her invitation known. She is, Madam Folly is also at the heights of the city. So it says, verse 14, sits at the door of her house on a seat by the highest places of the city. So they're both there where everybody can see them. They're both there where everybody can hear them. They also have, and these last three we're going to come back to and look at more thoroughly, so I'm just introducing them to you. They have the same invitation. So then the same location, they're offering the same invitation. Verse 4, whoever is simple, let him turn in here. Verse 16, whoever is simple, let him turn in here. So we have folly and wisdom seated, if you will, side by side, but certainly seated there at the same place, speaking to the same people, offering the same basic invitation, come to me, come to me. You who are simple, come to me. And yet at this point, this is where it diverges again, because we find the instruction of wisdom is forsake foolishness. That's verse 6. Forsake foolishness and live and go in the way of understanding. Madam Folly, and we're going to, again, look at this more thoroughly. But what she does, what the upshot of her instruction is sensual pleasures are the best. So wisdom is here saying, turn from your folly. Madam Folly is saying, come gratify yourself. Those are the two options. Turn from folly, gratify yourself. Which one is going to be more popular? Gratify yourself. Gratify your desires. And that's what the vast majority of people, and all of us by nature, are geared towards. I'm going to satisfy my own desires. I'm going to gratify my own lust of whatever they are. And folly says you can do that here. Come to my house, and you can do that here. Wisdom says turn from folly. Reject the way you're living now. And so many don't, they see that call to rejection and they see it as if, well, I can't have any fun. They say, well, if I have to give that up, I don't want this. And so their call is different, and most importantly, their destination is different. And this is where wisdom comes to play. Really, this is where wisdom shows its wisdom. Because the wise person doesn't just look at the choices. The wise person looks at the consequences. They see which road they're turning on, and they're looking with wisdom ahead to see where does this road lead. And so Solomon helps us. He gives us the answer. Lady Wisdom, we take her invitation, we forsake foolishness and live. The destination of following wisdom is life. So Madam Folly, we follow her advice. We turn to her invitation. It ends in death. It ends in hell, in misery. There. So this is what Proverbs 9 shows us, this contrast between Lady Wisdom. They both are introduced to us. They're both described to us. They're seated in the same location. They're offering the same invitation. They're giving a very different instructions, and they have a radically different destination. And Solomon is saying, choose wisely. He is ending all of this with this incredible call to right choices. So let's walk through this very briefly. Wisdom's invitation. So these are where the really where it comes down to in our choices, is considering their invitations. So wisdom offers to us, verse 5, come eat of my bread and drink of the wine I have mixed. So wisdom says, come eat. Wisdom offers that which has been very carefully prepared. Wisdom has been working here. She's not been idle. She has been working to lay out a feast worthy of those that are invited, a feast to be enjoyed. She offers the best. She slaughtered her meat and mixed her wine. This is pictures of a rich feast. This is not your average fare. This is not something you're going to eat. This is not what the average person is eating every single day. This is the banqueting food. This is and not banqueting food made by a caterer who made 300 of the same chicken cordon bleu, and they all taste like rubber. This is truly sumptuous feasting. It's the best that she is offering. And what she offers is stuff that actually does satisfy. And it offers what is truly pleasant as well, stuff that is enjoyable. So that even though folly says, come gratify your pleasures, gratify your own desires, wisdom says, forsake folly, and in doing so you'll have that which is really pleasant, which is really satisfying. Folly's invitation, on the other hand, what she says is in verse 17, stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. Let me read the verses before this. I want you to notice what folly does to prepare the meal. So it says, verse 13, a foolish woman is clamorous. She is simple and knows nothing. For she sits at the door of her house on a seat by the highest places of the city, to call to those who pass by, who go straight on their way. Whoever is simple, let him turn in here. And as for him who lacks understanding, she says to him, stolen water is sweet, and bread eaten in secret is pleasant. So what has folly done to prepare the meal? Yeah, she's done no work at all. And so much so that by contrast, she doesn't care about what she's offering. She's not trying to lay out this beautiful feast. She is disinterested and she's not preparing. She just, as Carolyn's already said, she's just making a useless noise. She's just in the street clamoring foolishly, saying, come eat at my table. But she's not prepared it. She doesn't care. And what she offers is substandard. It's bread and water, as opposed to meat and wine. A very definite, intentional contrast here that wisdom has provided a delightful feast. Folly has prepared just your daily fare, bread and water. and really a very basic meal at that. And then she also offers what is illicit. What kind of what kind of water, verse 17? Yeah, stolen water is sweet. And bread eaten in secret is pleasant. I think, especially in relation to the first line, the secret eating there is secret because you've stolen it. It's not yours by right, you've taken. And so that she is offering this thrill. When we talk about the illicit, whether it be illegal or immoral, or just sinful in the broadest sense of the term, it often has a moment of pleasure. You think about Moses, when he refused to be called the son of Pharaoh's daughter. He turned down the pleasures of Egypt. Hebrews doesn't tell us he turned down the suffering and the misery and the sorrow and the pleasures. There was a genuine pleasure living as a prince in the household of Pharaoh. And we need to, as we're thinking about the invitation, we're thinking about the choice between wisdom and folly, we do well to remember that yes, sin is pleasurable. The apple tasted good. Eve's eyes were opened. Was it worth it? We know better. And so, but we can't just say, well, no, sin's not any fun. Sometimes sin's a blast, but it's never worth it. She also offers what is false. Offers false promises. And we see this in verse 18, and I'm going to come back to this. I'll just say she offers water and bread, and what she gives is death and destruction. So her promises never hold up to what to the reality of her, never holds up to what she promises. So wisdom's instruction, verse 6. Forsake foolishness and live. So wisdom, just real simple, I've already touched on this, calls us to turn from foolishness. So wisdom presents a way, we're in a way, turn from it to live in wisdom and to live the life of understanding. Go in the way of understanding so that now you are walking the lifestyle. Remember, way here, as it's used in Proverbs, is a figure of speech. It's a metaphor for the course of life, for the way that you live. And so when it says go the way of understanding, it's live the life of understanding. Don't live the life of folly. Live the life of understanding. And again, folly's instructions, go to verse 17, offers again, it says that the stolen water is sweet. There's an emphasis on the pleasure. Stolen water is sweet. Bread eaten in secret is pleasant. What folly appeals to is not life, it's gratification, it's pleasure. And as everybody touched on this, there is absolutely a point here. This stolen water and bread, it has that thrill to it because it's forbidden. William Arnott said, if stolen waters were not sweet, no one would steal the waters. So her meal, while it is substandard, it is also, there's desirability to it. So when we're talking about these things, we're saying this is something that people want, that people do desire, because it promises something and it does give something that appeals to people, but it does not compare to that which wisdom offers. And the way that we understand this, and the reason that the stolen waters are so appealing is that our appetite, as William Arnott also said, our appetite is diseased. The problem, and one of the reasons we enjoy the fruits of folly so much is because our taste buds are bad. They are as corrupted by sin as everything else. Our desires, our longings, our loves have been impacted by sin so that we, in our flesh, love the wrong thing. We want the dry, moldy bread because we think it tastes good. And so she offers this so that just appeals to the now, the flesh, the pleasures of the flesh. Wisdom offers life. I mean, there's no way to say it any better. Just you have a choice here. You can go the way of life, or you can go the way of death. So folly does offer pleasure, and genuine pleasure, but in the end, they become bitterness and poison to us. And what we see going on here in Proverbs telling us of the destinations of both wisdom and folly is it's instructing the simple. Because the simple one comes to his choices. And he looks at his choices, and one of the reasons he is simple is because he doesn't know where they're going to end. He hasn't had the experience or the learning yet to know for certain which one leads where. Solomon comes along as a tool to teach wisdom and says, let me tell you where your choices end up. And so the simple one can be instructed. If he will heed instruction, he will become wise. If he refuses instruction, he becomes foolish. And so we have this one, the one being addressed, the simple, is the one at the crossroads that has a choice. And Solomon is saying, again, choose wisely. Folly's destination is death and hell. Proverbs 7, verse 27. If you remember Proverbs 7, it was this vivid story of the foolish youth who was walking the city at night, turned to go the way of the prostitute's house, and he was seduced by her. And what he tells us at the end of this is that the prostitute's house is the way to hell, descending to the chambers of death. What we find, we get to Proverbs 9, the end of Proverbs 9, Madam Folly is the foreign woman, the strange woman, the immoral woman, and the adulterous woman of Proverbs 5, 6, and 7. This one that he has warned us so strongly against and has said, if you touch this, you'll receive a shame, a burning shame that you can never escape. You will receive death in you. He is talking about sexual immorality, but he is most significantly, he is talking about folly. You think about that, as I trust that we think about it, as we talk about the subject of adultery, it should be a subject that we think, I'm never doing that. That is repulsive to me. That sexual immorality is ungodly, and I want nothing to do with it. And Solomon tells us here, Proverbs 9, folly. Pursuing Madam Folly is as if you went in to a prostitute. As if you entered into an extramarital affair. Pursuing Madam Folly is to engage in this most destructive of habits and behaviors. And so he tells us, he shows us that Madam Folly and all of her appeals and invitation, she's inviting you to Satan's bed and breakfast. She's inviting you into her house, and you open the door, and your first step is into eternal heartache. It is a way that ends in death. This seductress that Solomon warns over and over and over again against is folly. If you follow her, you will be destroyed. Choose wisdom. I mean, that's right. That's a no-brainer. It's obvious. We come to this point in it. Wisdom, of course, wisdom leads to life. And that's what Solomon is saying. He's presenting to us this great choice. He says, now choose wisdom. Choose wisely by choosing wisdom.